Hey everyone, and welcome to this special deep dive just for listeners of Vintage Car Chronicles.
You can find us daily on Spotify,
Deezer.
Apple Music.
And YouTube.
You might already know we love exploring unique cars, and today
We're going to really get to know the Peugeot 505.
we've got a stack of articles and even some Wikipedia excerpts to help us unpack this intriguing French classic.
What's fascinating about the 505 is that it's a car that could have been a true icon,
It had style,
Performance.
performance.
and even a surprising racing pedigree.
So let's dive into its story and see what we can uncover.
Okay, let's rewind back to 1979,
The 505 rolled onto the scene.
aiming to replace the super popular 504.
Those are some big shoes to fill.
How did Peugeot even begin to tackle that?
Well, you might expect them to have played it safe, but they actually made some interesting choices.
Instead of following the trend towards front-wheel drive.
They stuck with the 504's robust rear-wheel drive layout and its reputation for toughness.
You know, I'm noticing a theme of unexpected choices with the 505 already.
Why would they go against the grain with rear-wheel drive?
It might seem counterintuitive, but rear-wheel drive actually offered some advantages.
Think about it. Better weight distribution,
Improved handling.
especially in tricky conditions.
They were really building on the 504's legacy of reliability and capability.
Makes sense.
Now let's talk about the looks.
I read that the 505's design was a team effort between Pininfarina and Peugeot's own design team.
How did that collaboration play out?
You actually get a subtle blend of both influences,
The final design ended up echoing the smaller Peugeot 305.
which is interesting for a larger family car.
So it had a touch of sportiness, even though it was meant to be practical.
That's kind of cool.
Exactly.
And here's a little detail that really adds to that sophisticated feel.
The original interior was designed by Paul Bracq.
Wait a minute, isn't that the guy behind some legendary Mercedes-Benz and BMW designs?
That's a pretty high-end pedigree for a Peugeot.
Precisely.
You can see how Peugeot is aiming for a certain level of luxury and driver focus with the 505's interior.
They even had prototypes for a coupe and cabriolet.
Imagine that.
Seriously, why on earth wouldn't they put those into production?
It's one of those automotive mysteries.
Some say it was due to finances at the time.
Others believe they wanted to focus on other models.
It's a shame, though, those would have been stunning with Pininfarina's touch.
Okay, so we've got a car that's built like a tank, designed with a touch of Italian flair.
But was it just a French car?
Not at all.
The 505 had a truly global reach.
You'd find it being manufactured in Argentina,
China,
Indonesia.
Nigeria.
It really spanned the world.
Wow, a real-world traveler.
It really speaks to its adaptability.
It was embraced by families and taxi drivers alike.
In fact, over 1,000 diesel 505s were sold as taxis in New York and Los Angeles back in 1980.
Hold on, diesels in the U.S. back then?
That's surprising, wasn't it? Pretty unusual.
You're absolutely right, it was.
Diesel cars were still a rarity in America at that time.
It highlights Peugeot's forward thinking and the 505's versatility.
So we've got this tough, stylish car that was loved all over the world.
But it wasn't just a simple sedan, right?
They made different versions.
Absolutely.
Remember all that practicality we talked about?
Well, in 1982, Peugeot introduced the 505 Brake.
The estate version.
Ah, the classic wagon style.
Perfect for hauling everything and everyone.
Right.
But they didn't stop there.
You even had a familial version.
And get this.
It had 8 seats.
8.
That's almost like a minivan.
Exactly.
Large families and taxi services loved it.
And if you wanted to get even more adventurous,
They even offered a 4x4 Dangel conversion for the Brake,
a 4x4.
so you could take this family wagon off-road.
That's right.
It was way ahead of its time, a bit like an early ancestor to the crossovers we see everywhere today.
So we've got this blend of practicality and ruggedness.
But what about the engine options?
Were there any exciting choices under the hood?
Oh, definitely.
The 505 offered a surprisingly diverse range with both diesel and petrol options to choose from.
And then in 1983, they launched the 505 turbo injection.
Turbocharged.
Now we're talking.
What kind of power are we looking at?
It all started with a 2.2-liter engine sourced from, believe it or not,
Chrysler Europe.
wait, Chrysler?
How did a Peugeot end up with a Chrysler engine?
Well, Peugeot had acquired part of Chrysler Europe a few years earlier.
Turned out to be a pretty smart move for the 505.
Well, that's an interesting twist.
So what do they do with this Chrysler engine?
They tuned it to deliver a respectable 150 horsepower,
But then they took it even further.
adding an intercooler to boost the power up to 160 horsepower.
And if that wasn't enough, A Danielson tuning kit could bump it up to an impressive 200 horsepower.
No.
So the 505 wasn't just a practical family car, it had a bit of a performance edge too.
Absolutely.
And that's not even the most surprising part.
This sporty side went beyond just straight-line speed.
Are you ready to hear about the 505's unexpected racing career?
Wait, a racing 505?
You're kidding, right?
Not at all.
And it's more than just a fun fact.
It actually played a key role in shaping the car's image. It all started with a former Formula One driver,
Jean-Pierre Beltoise.
who was a big advocate for the 505 in the French Production Championship.
Hold on, Jean-Pierre Beltoise.
The guy who raced for Matra and BRM?
The one and only.
He was a passionate supporter of French motorsport, and he really believed in showcasing French engineering on the track.
So he saw potential in the 505 as more than just a family car.
Exactly.
He wanted to prove that a car known for comfort and reliability could also be a fierce competitor.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
How did they transform a regular 505 into a race car?
Well, they started by stripping it down to the bare essentials.
Shedding any unnecessary weight,
Then they went to work on the engine.
ditching the fuel injection in favor of two twin-barrel Weber carburetors.
Wow, old school tuning?
What kind of power did they manage to squeeze out?
They got it up to nearly 190 horsepower.
Keep in mind, this was back in 1980.
So that was pretty potent for a relatively lightweight car.
So did Beltoise and his souped-up 505 dominate the competition right away.
It wasn't an overnight success story.
They had some initial success, but it actually took a couple of years to really hit their stride.
In 1982, Beltoise finally secured victories at Manicourt and Montlhéry.
Two iconic French circuits.
Those wins must have really put the 505 on the map in terms of motorsport credibility.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't just Beltoise.
Other drivers like Jean-Pierre Jarier and Jean-Pierre Melcher also campaigned 505s with great success.
It became a real contender in the championship.
So the 505 went from underdog to a force to be reckoned with.
I can't imagine what it was like to see those races, family cars battling it out wheel to wheel.
It was quite a spectacle.
But the story doesn't end there.
In 1983, Peugeot took things to a whole new level with the 505 turbo injection.
The one we talked about earlier with the Chrysler engine.
Right, the one with the option for 200 horsepower with the tuning kit.
That's the one.
They used that car as the basis for something truly special.
The 505 Super Production.
Super production.
That sounds serious.
It was the ultimate evolution of the racing 505.
Imagine taking that already potent turbo injection engine and cranking it up to 11.
The initial version of the Super Production boasted a mind-blowing 440 horsepower.
440 horsepower.
That's more than double the power of the modified 2-liter Beltoise was racing.
It was a beast.
But then the following year, they somehow managed to extract an additional 110 horsepower.
So we're talking 550 horsepower in a 505.
That's incredible.
It's a purpose-built racing machine.
They gave it a lightweight body.
Advanced aerodynamics and a suspension tune for maximum performance.
Basically, it was a silhouette racer with just a hint of the original 505 design.
Okay, with that kind of power,
I imagine they were unbeatable.
did they sweep the competition?
They were incredibly fast and competitive, racking up numerous wins and podium finishes.
But despite all that, the 505 Super Production never actually won the championship title.
Really?
What held them back?
Well, motorsport is a complex game.
Reliability issues, strategic mistakes, and of course, fierce competition all played a role.
I guess even with all that power, things don't always go your way in racing.
Exactly.
But even without a championship trophy, the 505 Super Production left its mark on French motorsport.
It's a testament to the car's versatility and the ingenuity of the engineers who pushed it to its limits.
It's kind of amazing to think that this family car became such a serious contender on the racetrack.
Did this racing success have any impact on the 505's image or sales?
It definitely raised its profile, especially in France.
People started to see it as a car with a sporty side.
Not just a practical family hauler.
Did that lead to any special edition models or performance-inspired versions for the road?
Well, Peugeot actually went a step further and launched a racing series specifically for the 505.
Really?
A whole racing series just for the 505.
What was it called?
The Trophy 505.
Catchy.
What was the idea behind this racing series?
They wanted to create a more accessible form of motorsport.
They used modified versions of the 505 Turbo, not as extreme as the Super Production cars, but still a chance for amateur racers to experience the thrill of competition.
I imagine that was quite a draw for 505 enthusiasts.
What kind of modifications did they make to the cars for the trophy?
They took standard 505 turbos,
Stripped them down a bit for weight savings, and then boosted the power up to a respectable 200 horsepower.
not bad at all.
That's still a good amount of power to have fun with on the track.
And importantly, just like The super production cars, these Trophy 505s, were rear-wheel drive, which made for some really exciting racing.
It was all about showcasing the 505's performance potential in a more accessible way.
It's fascinating how Peugeot embraced the racing side of the 505.
From the top-level super production car to this grassroots trophy series.
How long did this Trophy 505 series last?
It ran for 3 seasons,
From 1985 to 1987.
so right in the heart of the 505's production run.
It must have really solidified its image as a performance car.
It did.
It's one thing to have a factory-backed racing program, but to have a whole series dedicated to your car shows a real commitment from Peugeot.
They really believed in the 505's capabilities.
Okay, so we've covered the design, the global reach, the unexpected practicality, and now this fascinating racing history.
It seems like the 505 had it all.
What about its legacy? How long did it stay in production?
The 505 had a pretty good run.
Production in Europe continued until 1992, and in some other markets it lasted even longer.
Not bad at all.
And I read that it was the last rear-wheel drive Peugeot.
Does that mean it marked the end of an era for the brand?
It did.
While the 605, which succeeded it, had its own merits, it never quite captured the hearts of enthusiasts in the same way that the 505 did.
I guess there's something special about that combination of rear-wheel drive, robust engineering, and that touch of Italian flair.
It's a unique blend.
Absolutely.
And speaking of unique, the 505's legacy goes far beyond Europe.
Remember its global reach.
Well, in many parts of Africa, the 505 is still considered a true workhorse.
So even decades after production ended, it's still going strong in some parts of the world.
It is.
In Africa, it's known for its toughness and reliability, especially in challenging conditions.
It's up there with legendary cars, like the Mercedes-Benz W123, in terms of its enduring popularity.
It's about quite a legacy.
It speaks to Peugeot's focus on building cars that could really stand the test of time.
And in a way, it carries the torch from its predecessor, the 504.
You could say that.
It's a testament to the original design and engineering.
Peugeot created a car that could handle almost anything thrown at it, from family adventures to tough terrains to the racetrack.
It makes you wonder if the 505 could have achieved even greater heights.
Maybe if those coupe and cabriolet prototypes had gone into production,
Imagine that.
a sporty, stylish, rear-wheel drive Peugeot coupe.
It could have been a game changer.
Who knows what could have been?
But even without those what-ifs,
The Peugeot 505 has cemented its place as a truly unique and memorable car.
it's a classic that's often overlooked.
But hopefully this deep dive has given you a new appreciation for its unique qualities and its lasting appeal.
It really is a car that deserves to be rediscovered and celebrated.
A well-rounded and remarkable automobile, even if it didn't get all the recognition it deserved during its time.
So for all you Vintage Car Chronicles listeners,
What are the key takeaways about the Peugeot 505 that you want to leave them with?
the biggest takeaway, I think, is that the 505 was so much more than just a car.
It represented French ingenuity
Adaptability.
and that willingness to push boundaries.
It was a global success story, a dependable family car, a stylish ride, and even a formidable competitor on the racetrack.
It truly defied expectations.
It's almost hard to believe that one car could be all of those things.
Thanks for joining us for this special deep dive into the world of the Peugeot 505.
And don't forget, there's a brand new episode of Vintage Car Chronicles waiting for you every day wherever you get your podcasts.
Until next time.